We are going to hear about the Commonwealth Honors College. So it is my pleasure to introduce to you Dr. Alex Deschamps, our Associate Dean of the Commonwealth Honors College.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to try to share my screen, and if that doesn't work, Rachel will make it work for me. I'm going to try it. Yes, and here we go. Share. Oh, did work. Good afternoon, everyone. For those of you who remain with us for this visit, virtual visit, I hope you will stay and listen to a little summary, a slice of who we are. What is the Commonwealth Honors College? What do we do? How do we do the things we do? Many of you will be admitted to the Honors College, so this will be helpful to get an idea what to expect. We are, I'm going to just say very quickly, a community of scholars on a campus full of opportunities. As you have heard from everyone so far, this is a large campus, but it can actually be a wonderful, beautiful community. I want to preempt the community of scholars first by saying 24,000 undergrad students at our campus does not mean that the approximate 3,200 students in the Honors College are the only ones who are scholars. And I will elaborate on that. With me this morning is Ashley Braziel, who is our coordinator of events and programs. She's been with us just about a year now, and actually who I depend on 100%. There are two of our students with us. Kevin is actually in computer science and also computer engineering, and also doing a bachelor's degree with individual concentration. And Aidan is in sports management with a minor in sociology. The reason for both of them, well, Kevin can talk about computer engineering and CHC, but I really want you all to hear from other students because we serve every major on our campus. Small community of scholars, it's UMass Amherst, this is UMass, we are UMass. There is this ongoing joke that parents will say, even to the chancellor, oh, my child got accepted to the Honors College. And we will always say at UMass Amherst, and they will say no, at the Honors College. So I want to start by saying we are actually UMass Amherst. We're just a very small community at UMass Amherst with 3,200 students, current students, who are our students. If anyone has questions about admissions, and I think this has been covered a couple times already, we rely on the Office of Admissions. They use the Common App. So the Office of Admissions are the ones who read and evaluate and decide who should be accepted to the Honors College. For all the years that they have been doing that, they're very proficient with it. They have not disappointed us. We work pretty closely with them. We have lots of meetings with them, and they understand very clearly who our students are. Our students, creative, curious, persistent, passionate, committed. Committed, let me stop on the word committed. Students in the Honors College need to want to be in the Honors College. It is a commitment. There's academic rigor. All our students must maintain a cumulative GPA of 3.4 every semester. So it is a commitment. But like every other major and every other department and every other whatever it is students want to do, it is doable. It just means you've got to be responsible. You must be intellectually curious, a love of learning. And if we have that, that's what we actually do have in the Honors College. I am an alum of UMass Amherst, and I believe in the mission of UMass Amherst as a research university, as a teaching university, and as an engaged scholarship university. And I will expand on that a little later. One of the things that we offer, some of the benefits very quickly, small classes. Our class sizes are no more than 25, and these are honors required courses. Not all UMass courses, the honors required courses are capped at 25. For our first years, they are no more than 19. And when I do the curriculum, I will mention that, say a little more about that. And that's deliberate. We plan every year and every semester on ensuring that our students have very close engagement with faculty and with each other. Sometimes I get asked, honor students competitive? And I usually like to say, let's think about collaborative. If we have groups of students living and learning together in classes together, where 19 students are coming from high schools, where they've been the top of their game in their high schools, and they're together in the classroom, make it a collaborative living learning environment. There's no need to compete with each other. The need is to do their work, do it well, be committed, be responsible, and do your due diligence. Our courses, intellectual exchange, connections between faculty and students. We serve students in every department and every major. 3 of the students in CICS, as you saw, are honors students, and I actually know Jonathan very well. I live as a faculty in residence in the Honors College community, which allows me to interact with a lot of our students, have conversations with them, have tea and conversations with them, but most importantly, to get feedback from them to help us make the decisions that we need to make for their benefit. We're not the degree granting college, and I would like to say that 3 times. We are not the degree granting college. We are not the degree granting college. We enhance the intellectual capacity of our students. We work closely with them. They can do anything, as you heard from the engineering students, from CICS students. It's all about research and engaged scholarship. We usually prefer our students to take no more than 2 honors courses per semester, and I will explain that in the curriculum. Breadth of study. We've designed our curriculum as a breadth of study and depth of study. The breadth of study is our first and second years. If our students fulfill these requirements in the first 2 years, we can guarantee that the junior and senior years will be successful. May I also offer that our requirements are not in addition to the major requirements or UMass requirements in a whole. They're not in addition to. I want to use the word infused. I cook a lot, so I like to use those terms. Our requirements are infused into the major requirements, into the UMass requirements. For example, English Writing 112H, which all of our students are required to take unless they get exempted from it. When Jim Rendley this morning was showing his curriculum, there is English 112 that engineering science must take. They can actually take English 112 as an honors class in sections for honors students. That way they fulfill the UMass writing requirement as well as the honors English writing requirement, as well as engineering writing requirement. The honors 201H, ideas are changeable. That's our mandatory class for all our first years. No more than 19 students in that class, and that is very deliberate. This is where our students in the classroom work with each other, get to know faculty very early. That class fulfills a UMass Gen Ed requirement as well as our own requirement. Then the Gen Ed courses. We require 2 Gen Ed honors courses. Over the past years, many of our students are entering UMass with lots of AP credits. AP credits do not count, do not fulfill our honors requirements. However, we will work with them if they've satisfied honors Gen Ed courses for UMass. We will work closely with them to help them strategize and figure out what other honors courses that they can take that would satisfy this requirement. And I will explain how we do so. And then there is Honors 391 AH, which is a very interesting 1 credit class. This is taught only by faculty, current faculty, and sometimes retired faculty. The idea is to get our students to engage with faculty across all disciplines, that they have an understanding of current research, important research, and just to make those connections with faculty. The junior and senior year, which really I do not want people to get too bothered about, but which is important to understand. In the junior and senior year, we expect our students to take 2 tracks. One is multidisciplinary, one is departmental. The whole point of this, actually, the biggest benefit, which I think, and which the Honors College is really fastidious about right now, is the thesis. The thesis is what gets our students into the best graduate classes. The thesis is what grad schools and the best jobs and the internships. The thesis is required for all of our students, no matter what major. And both Kevin and Aidan is actually in a seminar right now, and he can share a little bit of that. At the end of this, we will be answering questions, but we will also highlight our web pages so you can find more and more information and elaborate information and examples of all of these. What do we do and how do we do it? I mentioned how we will work with our students to get them to fulfill the requirements. Unlike other majors, CHC has its own advising unit. This is staffed by professional staff and a few grad students. We are in office Monday to Friday. Anytime that school is happening, we are open. Well, I'll talk about the virtual piece in a little bit. This is where we do the work. This is supplemental. This is specialized advising. This is how we make sure and ensure that our students are successful. Every student has an advisor in their major, and every honors student has additional advising in the honors college. Our advisors are trained, and this is especially crucial in the first and second years. When I took over the advising unit, I realized that students, not all of our students came into advising. So one of the things we did was to change make the decision that all students should at least see an honors advisor once a semester. This is working very well. First years and sophomores. Right now we are tracking sophomores at the end of their sophomore year, just to ensure that they have completed the basic requirements so they can move on to the junior and senior year. We are hoping beyond hope, like every one of you and everybody that I know on our campus and everywhere else, that we will not be virtual and remote in fall of 2021. One of the most interesting things that has happened with doing everything remote and virtual is that we have an uptick in the number of advising appointments, because students are actually using the virtual appointments even more than last year. There are lots of drop-ins. They can make appointments with our advisors. They have drop-in sessions as well as group sessions. Research. I mentioned engaged scholarship, research. All of our students, interesting thing about this is as of now, 1 in 4 students, 1 in 4 honors students are actually in the sciences. And you heard the range of work that our students do in the majors, in comp-sci, and in engineering. This is to the advantage to be in the honors college because we don't expect them to do an additional research. They do it in the college as the honors thesis. The thesis can be working in the lab. A thesis can be working independently with a faculty. And a thesis, we also offer seminars for those students who want to do multidisciplinary studies, as well as who need more structure. Aidan is in one of those, and I hope he will say something about that. We've got a very, very, very vibrant alumni who, over the past years, give us all the funding that we need to provide scholarships and fellowships for our current students. We work closely with our own advisory board. And because we are not the degree granting college, we do not have a particular career person, which forces us, and actually works very well for us, to be involved with every college and every department. So every department actually has an honors program director. We meet with them every semester, and they're actually there as additional advisors for our juniors and our seniors. Office of National Advisement is housed in the Honors College. That office serves all students in all majors on our campus. We are at the cusp of perhaps being one of the top colleges with the most Fulbright international scholarships at the moment. And most of these students are actually honors students. Study abroad. Of course, we encourage our students to study abroad. We actually have a small program of ours called International Scholars Program and Study. We work closely with the International Programs Office just to be clear with our students that there are courses that they can actually use to fulfill their honors requirement while they are studying abroad. One of the other things we have done with advising is to the study abroad students can actually do their advising via remotely with our students. So the advising still continues. Problem solving skills. I love to talk about the thesis. I love to talk about what students are doing for a thesis. I feel very lucky to be working with students who want to do a thesis, and you can do anything you want. Whether you are doing sports management like Aidan is doing, whether Kevin is doing all this lab work that he's doing. And I get to talk with students and meet with them and help them to think through what the thesis could be. It doesn't matter whether it's an HFA student, you can do anything that you want. How we do it is what's important. With an honors program director in each department, that's additional advising. And right now we have up to the ante in ensuring that we do thesis workshops for students in the junior year. And next year we want to start with our sophomores in the second semester of the sophomore year. I'll give an example of a student in engineering. I was having a conversation with him and just trying to figure out what he was thinking about, what project for his thesis. And he said to me that he really wanted to develop a glass eye, which would be much easier and more comfortable. And I asked him why. And that he had a glass eye and nobody even knew, but that he came into campus in engineering to do that. And that makes us really know that what the work that we're doing in the Honors College is fulfilling, is satisfying, and will change the world. Living and learning, and I really want the students to talk about that, so I'm not too biased about it. I love that we now have a community, what we call the Commonwealth Honors College Residential Community. We opened up in 2013. We house as many students as we can. It's not mandatory for students to live here, But so far, all of our first-year students who actually want to live here do get an opportunity to do that. We have multi-year halls for sophomores, juniors, and seniors. It is centrally located on campus. We do a lot of residential residential topics and programs and events. We work with Eisenberg, we work with engineering, biology. We've got our residential academic program that I actually want these two students to talk about. And this is part of what Ashley is now responsible for. Working within the community, I need to give a caveat to those pictures. All of these were taken before COVID-19. Just want to be clear about that, so you don't think that you're still engaging in not doing safe distancing. This is about, that was last year. We do a lot of community projects. One of our signature events is Pizza and Prof. We try to find some of the best faculty across campus to come in and have conversations with our students. That gives them an opportunity to meet them individually, professionally, ask questions, and sometimes change their majors if they need be. And I'm going to stop here because I love people to ask questions and I want our students to have an opportunity to speak. We want to invite you to visit our website. You can do two things. You can actually, both Kevin and Aidan are part of a group of 8 student ambassadors who are available to hold current virtual info sessions every day as best as possible. All you need to do is to register for one and they can tell you so much more about the Honors College. Let me introduce Kevin. And he can talk about his own experience, what he's doing now, and internship opportunities.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, thank you again for joining us. Thanks for staying on. We know it's been a long morning, but I'm excited to tell you a little bit about my honors experience. So again, I'm a computer engineering major and a BDIC major in science, technology, and society. And basically, in the first 2 years of my engineering curriculum, I took some general education courses at the honors level. And some of those included Calculus 2 at the honors level. So I was in a very small group of around 15 students, and we had the most discussion about math that I had ever had before, and that was a really great experience. I got to really delve deep into the calculus curriculum and really learn it and understand the content really well. In terms of internship experiences, honors has really been super supportive in that since honors serves all majors in all departments, they really know what's going on campus, and so they were able to support me in the process of searching for an internship, knowing where to look in which directions. And when I went out to apply, people were really interested in what I was up to in the Honors College. So learning about that deep learning, that deep understanding that I'm gaining in courses, that was really great for me to talk about and to discuss with potential employers. And I don't know, Professor Deschamps, if there's anything you wanted me to cover specifically.
Let's wait for some questions. And so Aidan, if you can actually share your own experience. I know you're sports management, but you've lived here in the Honors College for a long time. So if you can say something about that, living and learning and your wrapped and just balancing everything together.
Yeah, so again, hello, my name's Aidan. I'm a junior sport management major, but I'm also pursuing a minor in sociology. So again, my major is a little bit different than some of the topics and colleges we're covering here today. But that means, Honors College is very multidisciplinary. So Kevin and I, touching on housing and RAPs or residential academic programs, we lived together our first year on the 6th floor of Oak, one of the first year residential halls, whoop, whoop, shout out to Oak. And this was a contemporary topics RAP. So we were in a class in our first semester in our first year with kids in so many different majors. So I was sport management, Kevin was computer engineering, we had computer science, we had anthropology, English, history, so many different majors, so that when we took a class together in this RAP program, we had so many different perspectives that we could expand on and, actually generate a very beneficial discussion on the topic of that day. But outside of the classroom, since we were in a RAP together and we were living in Oak on the 6th floor together, we did a lot of events, or, we just hung out together. We went out to eat. We went to the Big E together, this big carnival just outside of Springfield, with fried food and carnival rides. And maybe when we went hiking some other days. So again, the Honors College and RAPs in particular are just a great way for students not only to go to class together and learn that academic side of your peers, but also it's a great way to learn more outside of the classroom. We are human beings, and there's more to us than just our major, our minor, or whatever college or department that we're in. And now that I'm a junior and I'm in the depth of study, and I'm doing my thesis this year as a junior, normally students do this as a senior, but the Honors College curriculum is meant to enhance what you want to do as a student. So advising comes in, you meet with your advisor, you learn what you want to do with them. For me, I'm interested in pursuing a 4+1 master's degree in regional planning. And so, since that program starts my senior year, I wanted to start a year early on my thesis, and advising was really beneficial. They helped me discuss what I needed to do to get into a thesis seminar and how that could best help me. And so again, advising is really, really important. And yeah, that's me. That's what my experience, and I'll pass it back to Professor Deschamps.
I want to share that one of the things I decided to do was to teach a seminar for the residential academic programs. And actually that's where I met Kevin and Aidan and a few other students who are now ambassadors. And I know that that was so important for me to do, because I got to understand how the students were thinking, how to help them balance the academic rigor just with doing fun things. One of the fun things we do for our first years, which actually I thought was which I really think is very important, was a first year dance in the fall for all our first years, which we do in our events hall. Last year I got invited, I went to the dance and I had a really rollicking good time. But I even give that very simple example because it gave me an opportunity to meet with so many students and for them to also understand that even though I am associate dean, I was available, that it was okay to have a conversation with me. So that's what we try to do in the Honors College, bridge the gap of academic rigor, but also letting our students know that they can talk with us anytime and trust us. Kevin, I know that you had an opportunity to do an internship even in your first year. Could you say something about that, please?
Yeah, so my first year, I was lucky enough to have the opportunity to work at the UMass Amherst Institute for Applied Life Sciences. And so that was mentioned earlier. It's one of the big research centers within the UMass campus. And through that process, I was able to get an internship with the Mobile Health Sensing and Analytics Laboratory, and working with a team of computer science professors, researchers, and graduate students. And so, yeah, through that, really the focus of at least my interview process, that was really about like what I was doing in my courses. And I was able to elaborate on my interdisciplinary interests, my multidisciplinary interests, and that was really enabled through this honors curriculum that encouraged me to reach out and branch out into different areas and understand things in different ways and in different perspectives. And then getting that first one enabled me to get another one this past summer, and hopefully currently in the process of applying for more internships. But yeah, honors, understanding things very deeply and very complexly, that really enabled me to go out and find that internship my first year.
Thank you, Kevin. I know they want us to wrap up now, but there are two more points I want to reiterate. One, to remember that we're not a degree granting college. However, our requirements are infused into all the major requirements. Major requirements come first. That's really very important, that we will work with all of our students at any time. It doesn't matter what the major is. There's access to every advisor anytime that students want to, and we work really closely with residential staff to build the community. This is why we refer to ourselves as CHCRC, Commonwealth Honors College Residential Community. Please visit our website. Go to experience/YCHC. There are lots of examples of thesis, and make an appointment, register for a virtual session with Kevin and Aidan and our 6 other great, wonderful honors ambassadors. Please email us. We will answer all our emails, and I'm so glad that people stayed with us. There's one question: would it be hard to hold a work-study job as an honors student? Absolutely no. Many of our students have work-study jobs, and actually there are lots of opportunities to work in the Honors College and build leadership skills as best as possible. Thank you to the Office of Admissions for the wonderful work that you do with fall visit days. I know the virtual is not the same for me as the in-person, but it does work. And again, please, for students, when you're applying and you really want to be in the Honors College, think of how to answer your essay questions. Let the admissions office know who you are, what you want to do, your intellectual curiosity, and you can have as many curricular events, and you do a lot of voluntary work, but the bottom line is, so what? How are you going to use that? How is that going to be, how will that work for you when you get to UMass? As a UMass alum, I'm going to end by saying always, go UMass.